guy who is an expert only in Excel and will go on his LinkedIn profile and say professional data scientist. It's so abused. Everybody talks about it. It's one of the keywords that everybody throw up here and there. And people call it different names, all to just deceive people. You have people say, I am an algorithmic marketer. You ask them, what are you talking about? Speak English. People call it machine intelligence, advanced data analytics, predictive analytics, in different dimensions of names and different frontiers. But of course, the multiple applications speaks to the varieties of what it is. But I think it's important to have a clear meaning of what it is before we go into this session. Next. Next. Okay, now I think it's just important as people who have come here to set the tone in terms of what does data science mean to anyone who is really keen about learning big data or data science or applying it in whatever you're doing. Now, we're all familiar with descriptive data. That's the lowest level of information. Descriptive data talks to how many people are in this room. What can we classify them by gender? Can we classify them by age? Can we classify them by height? Very basic description, or what we call exploratory data analysis. And I tell you, in most businesses today, having served as general manager of business intelligence and being part of so many analytics projects in this country, most of the things we do are fundamentally exploratory. We're just describing. X number of customers came X number of days, Y number of customers came Y number of days, and all that. We have X number of branches with X number of accounts, very descriptive, very basic. But as we go further, some people are already moving to the level of predictive, which is about what will happen. So if I study the pattern of how customers walk in terms of footfall into my branch, I can predict that more people come on Thursday morning or Friday morning, so I need more people to serve them than another day. So I'm now coming to regression, where I'm building a target variable using some input variables that I've trained over a period of time. It's as simple as saying, will it rain tomorrow, will it not rain tomorrow? And I look at all the indicators that I've studied over a period of time, and I put it into a logic, and the logic informs me that it's going to rain or it will not rain. The same principle in banking, when we talk about attrition, with this customer churn or not. I look at the patterns of all the customers who are churned, who have left. Maybe these customers are under 20, so they are young people, so they are not loyal because they are young, they are always very experimental. They use digital services, so maybe there's a problem with digital services. So I look at dominant variables that is shared by the people who have churned. And I use that to build what people will call algorithms, which are sequences of instructions to interpret any future data based on past data. Okay? And the same thing can be done even in terms of smart logics, which is purely around logistics. How long will it take for me to get somewhere? Even in Lagos with the terrible traffic, based on history, based on weather and all that, I can to a large extent predict that there's a likelihood that I'm going to spend extra 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and that can just help me to do that. Now we now move to prescriptive. What can I do to achieve the best outcome? And I think that's where big data intelligence is now coming. What can I do? So that's where scenario analysis. What is the best thing that I can do? That is deeper. How can I get 10% of the market share? And the data is informing me I must grow my visibility by X%, I must increase my retail outlet by 4%, I must increase my product portfolio by 5%, I must do this, I must do that. Of course, the kind of variables that I use to do this are not 10, 20 variables. We're talking about 500, 1,000 variables that you have to build features around and combine those variables and then use that to prescribe. This is very, very strong when we come into pharmaceutical, medicine or pharmacognosy, where heavy data science is being used to prescribe the best drug, especially when you come to personalized medicine. Personalized medicine is when individuals have their personalized intervention based on peculiar behavior that they share. This person has got this, has got that, and based on those uncommon patterns, I can to a large extent, prescribe. And then the big one, cognitive. Cognitive is from the word knowledge, knowing. It's from the Greek word cognos, the knowledge, the knowing. When you create a system that carry in itself a body of knowledge and can make decisions for you based on the fact that it can independently gather so many variables that are beyond your own interpretation. Oftentimes, you interpret database, oftentimes, and I'll be very frank, we interpret database of what we expect or we post-rationalize. You want to justify why you have to shut down branch A and not branch B. So, of course, you're already looking for certain variables. So, from the kickoff, you're already biased. This is what I need to prove to these people, that I'm not the one losing the customer, it's the customer losing me. So, there's already a bias. But when it comes to cognitive allows the data itself to study pattern within itself and build an intelligence. And that's what we talk about machine learning. When the machine learns, and so therefore machine can behave in a predictive, consistent pattern based on what you have said for the system. For example, somebody comes to the ATM, and I've trained the ATM to study the body language of anyone that comes. That if somebody comes and the person is jittery, do not release money. Tell that person that there's no cash. It is as a way of managing incidences of where people are picked and they're asked to go to an ATM to withdraw. And I'm sure you know what happens in Lagos. When T will take somebody and say, take your ATM, let's go to an ATM machine and you withdraw. And the man who is carrying gun is just behind you, waiting to get the money and go. So when the system has sufficient knowledge to make decisions. One of the people that will be talking to us later this afternoon, Professor Keoun.ng, we're talking to us about a product he developed around precision farming. When a system learns from soil samples, learns from weather, learns from different kind of crops, and based on that determine the most likely yield per crop, per type of day, and all those kind of things. These are cognitive systems. And I tell you, there's any frontier we want to get to, it must be cognitive system. All of us are familiar with chatbots, where you use, when the customer wants to interact with you, you have built a logic of knowledge, which says that if the customer says A, this is what the customer means. If the customer says B, this is what they mean. And so you don't need to have so many customer service agents who are trying to interpret. The system on its own has built that knowledge and can use that knowledge to serve your customer. And I think that's great. Of course, that comes with a lot of risk, because that's what leads to robotics. When the intelligence now resides in the machine, so we can use that for manufacturing, we can use that for self-driving cars, because it carries intelligence with sensors to read the blockages on the road, to read the next car, and use those intelligence to inform what it does and what it doesn't do. Next slide. Then the other thing I need to mention is the fact that when we're talking about big data, we're not talking about counts of traditional data, which are normal numbers that we're familiar with. We're talking about audios, we're talking about videos. There's a project that I'm working with a PhD student, because one of the things we also do in data science, which I will explain, is supporting PhD students to focus on industry-relevant PhD thesis. So he's working on looking at advertising in Nigeria that have succeeded in the last 10 years. So he's doing it for advertising. So we collected videos, audios of advertising in the last 10 years. And so we're looking at what are the tonalities, common words, common music that were used. And then we're using that to build a model of what would be most successful advertising. Essentially, people are using for music, pre-validation, that this means music will sell or do not sell, because an algorithm has been built over years that can intelligently, give you what's going to happen or not. So, what are local cases? In terms of local cases, I just want to throw some things to our mind of what is possible. Now, as a company, I run, I have a fleet of cars, and each of these cars has got a tracker. I manage, I have fuel and all that. All those data are seated in different places. There's a Google map that tracks how these drivers move. Now, all this level of intelligence can be aggregated together to begin to tell me what is the optimal route for me on a particular day of the week, and what should be issues of efficiency in the use of fuel for my driver who will, perhaps detour to different direction, to make extra money. So that's a critical case. The other one has to do with issues of security. Issues of security, a lot of case studies which I've seen, and one that I've been part of, is when you use Twitter messages, and then you use historical patterns of crime to determine that by 1:15 p.m., there's going to be a crisis by X location in Mushin axis of Lagos. Because the system has studied. So what do? It happens in New York. So what happens when it's almost a few minutes to that time? A police vehicle will just drive through, and that will just take off the issue. I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about. These are fundamental examples of things that we can do as a country. I'm sure today we're going to look at more examples in farming, in agriculture, in smart cities, in education. So we have in this room experts who are doing data science in various areas. So don't let me preempt a lot of things I'm going to let you know. But I'm just trying to set the tone on the various levels of possibility from the point of view of data application. Next slide. Now, impact on business. This is the story of Amazon.com. I'm sure we're all familiar with Amazon. 35% of the revenue of Amazon comes from the recommendation engine. Recommendation engine is that system that studies patterns of people who buy what and use that to recommend products. I'm sure you've seen that when you're about checking out from Amazon, it tells you people who bought this also bought that. Now there are systems that can track how you move when you are browsing the internet. What's the first thing you click? Are you color driven? Are you image driven? Are you position driven? Are you letter driven? So I can, to a large extent, understand the kind of people who visit my website, which can help me to optimize my website and understand the kind of advertising I can push to. Now we're talking about advertising on the go. What does that mean? The advert that Mr. A will see is different from the advert that Mr. B will see, even though it's from the same company. That's why people who understand the impact of this on advertising understand that advertising must become dynamic, which means that this guy who is colorless, you see this, and this guy who always like to click text, you see only text alone. So these are fundamental examples on all the various possibilities in data. And that's what a company like Amazon has successfully done to change its business story by using the power of predictive analytics to build a recommendation engine for vast number of customers. That as you are browsing, I can to a large extent predict what you are going to do or what you are not going to do, which has led to 1/3 of their total revenue coming from the application of big data. So what am I trying to establish? It has direct impact on our economy. If we as a country can understand the customer much better, we can design propositions that are customized, that are tailor-made, that are not beware. Because I've understood that this guy would rather want this, and then we can move to what we call nano segmentation. Today, if somebody goes there and types, your brand is Basky, how is he going to score it? How will the sentiment analyzer score Basky? Answer me now. It's going to say neutral. Or say your bank is 419. How is it going to score 419? It's a number, so it's going to call it neutral. But we know that 419 is extreme negative. So somebody got to start and build this Nigerian nomenclature and build a Nigerian-centric sentiment analyzer that can go crawl the web and say, today, these are the brands that are most loved from the local language perspective, geotagged, and it can make sense to our banking industry, make sense to telecoms, make sense to social advocacy, opinion people, and to really understand what's happening in the country. So that's ongoing. There's that product we are very proud to be part of, which is MarketTel, because it's being tested by data science in Nigeria. What does MarketTel do? MarketTel tells you what's happening in the market. It's a crowdsourced platform that uses the data science network to get intelligence from everywhere and your product visibility based on fundamental marketing theory. I want to know, is my billboard working, is it not working? And then it's now extrapolate this against many external variables that other models will know. Number one, it looks at Twitter for that day. Is your brand positive, negative, based on the emoticons that were used for against you? It studies all kinds of emoticons. And then what about weather forecast? Will weather affect you today? So it plugs into Aqua Weather and other weather APIs, integrate all the data together and tell you it's going to rain tomorrow, so your sales is going to be down by 3%. So increase your radio advertising by X%, so you can arrive at X% revenue. So those kind of algorithms that are Nigerian specific. And I think we need to give these young Nigerians a round of applause for some of the great work they're doing. All I'm telling you is that we've got what it takes. And let's get excited in this room that the big data story will be written. We're going to see great Nigerians who make Nigeria great again. Next slide. This is an example of the work that's been done where emoticons are being classified based on the days of the week. guess the day of the week and time of the week that we have Smiley used to host in this country? You can guess. And what time on Friday? 5:46 p.m. Very precise. So if I want to give an offer, perhaps that's the best time to do that. Though it fluctuates based on their seasonality. And then, when would there be a sad, sorry emoticons? Sunday. Please can you join me as I welcome you to the room, the Statistician General of the Federation, Dr. Yemi Kale. Please can we just give a round of applause as he takes his seat. It's been around for a while. He was just waiting for us to get settled down. You're welcome, sir. We're very, very honored, sir. He was just waiting for us to get settled down. So now, we have built an algorithm that goes into Twitter every day and pulls all the Twitter data across brand categories, different geography, and plots the way we use our words, local words, that's still testing and optimizing, and then use of emoticons to tell businesses when is the best time to launch an offer. When do you understand the sentiment, the national happiness index? Because these are indicators of when people are happy. And I'm glad to say, a company has extrapolated our data against their revenue, and we have seen a correlation of about 0.7. I think that's fair. 0.7. That when our revenue was high, or when people were very happy, they use happy, in IJN, those great, because we also do keywords tracking. When people are using alawi, salary, happiness index goes up. When people are using 3MD, traffic, generator, all those kind of things, it goes down. And it's just important to understand the same. Next slide. Next slide. So, we focus a lot on capacity building. This was our last boot camp, where we got about 150 Nigerians to a room, and we were looking at Nigerian stories. How do we build capacity to solve Nigerian big data problem, data for Nigerian issues? And it was very amazing. Of course, all these are all expense paid, free accommodation, but you must be good enough to attend. For example, the one that will kick off later today, that will run to Sunday, we went through 3 months of learning and a cargo competition. And the best in cargo, are the ones that will be at the boot camp to learn from some of the world's best machine learning, data science experts. Okay? So we believe that we can continue to scale up. And one of the ways we're going to scale up, so let me tell my personal data science journey. Next slide. Okay? A data scientist is known by being in competition. So one of the ways to be in competition is to be on cargo. So cargo is where you test yourself. And I tell you, because we're building global skill set, your skill must be able to match that brilliant programmer in Silicon Valley. So you must be on cargo. And that's why all the guys who are coming to the boot camp, they all qualify through cargo. If you are not qualified at the global space, you are not relevant in the local space, because we are building local space to match the global space. Okay? So you must be on cargo. Participate in competition. 2 things it does for you. Number one, it gives you some bragging rights that I'm from Nigeria, but I can match the best programmers in the world. I was at Data Science Dojo Boot Camp, where I came first. So I was wondering, so we're not bad in Nigeria. I had the best data scientists come together, about 480 of us, for 5 days. And I left where I came from. I said, yes, we are good in Nigeria. So all we just need to do, this was in Washington, D.C. in May. So we can just accelerate the story. We've got what it takes. Next slide. Okay. And the other area where I'm pushing for is productization of data algorithms. I spoke about 3 drivers of data: analytics, applications, and algorithms. We must be able to productize this so somebody can pay for it. Build an algorithm that a bank can use to predict their footfall analysis. When you package it, patent it, and make it an asset that you can use. So I'm proud to showcase one of the ones that I have today, which from USA Patent Office. It's about social pricing recommendation, where I studied the people within your network and I use that to predict the optimal price point. So this is a marketing proposition that uses big data. So what I'm trying to say is that there is no part of the economy that we cannot use big data to address. I'm sure by the time all the panelists speak, you understand what is possible. Next slide. Okay? And then I have a book which profiles, we talk about the future is sharing, it's about sharing economy. Sharing is about data. We talk about Uber, we talk about Airbnb. What do they sell? What does Uber sell? What does Uber got? Who can tell me? What does Uber got? Well, platform and data. It's pure data. That's what they sell. So I profiled a lot of data business to help a lot of us who will not want to go into coding, but you want to build a business that is built on data and platform. So you can get a copy of this book and understand different case studies of data-driven business that can help accelerate our story. Next slide. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's such a big honor and pleasure that you have come to join us at this program. I do believe that we can change African narrative, we can make things better, and what gets measured gets managed, according to Peter Drucker. Which means that if we as a nation begin to apply data intelligently, we're going to change our story, make this country better, move into smart cities, excellent precision, agriculture, precision, personalized health, personalized learning, advance into fintech, IoT, and so many great things can happen, and we can change our story. So once again, thank you so much for joining this journey. Just check us up on Twitter and www.datasciencenigeria.org. Thank you and welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, to talk on the keynotes, data is a new oil. Let's give a rousing ovation to Dr. Yemi, Kale.
There is undeniably an increasing recognition of the importance of data in Nigeria. This data summit and bootcamp, for example, would probably not have been considered at all a few years ago. The growing demand for data-driven information and decision-making has led to the emerging resurgence in the supply of data and statistical information in Nigeria. I believe there are two factors driving the demand for data. One which is exogenous and one that is endogenous. The exogenous factors, which are arguably more dominant, typically involve external demand as dictated by conditions occurring outside the country. The drive for data-driven decisions in more advanced countries, coupled with the increase in international investors seeking investment havens, with attention turning to emerging markets, with Nigeria being one of the preferred destinations. On the domestic front, exogenous factors driving demand is being fueled by growing insistence on accountability and good governance by citizens, as well as desire by government at all levels to demonstrate progress and demographic dividends in various sectors. The current economic challenges facing the country has further amplified the demand for accurate, reliable, and timely data on virtually all aspects of the Nigerian economy. Like never before, we are living witnesses to the transformational role that increased data availability and quality national statistics have played and continues to play in our national life. We see it in how government has stepped up the use of data in planning, implementing and targeting social programs, even though a lot still needs to be done. We see it in how businesses track and rely on official and non-official statistics to make critical investment decisions that ultimately impacts not only on government operations, but the welfare of ordinary citizens. We see it on how ordinary Nigerians are able to better understand how they are affected by policy and political decisions, appreciate the state of the economy around them and their own responsibilities as citizens. We also see it in a number of requests by private organizations in Nigeria to collaborate with us at the National Bureau of Statistics to generate data, or also in the increasing private sector investment in data production and in producing more indicators to better inform their clients or for their internal decision making. As custodian of official statistics in Nigeria and coordinator of the National Statistical System, the National Bureau of Statistics, despite continued challenges, has redoubled its efforts towards ensuring high frequency and quality data, to ensure that high frequency and quality data is available for policymakers, business investors, and citizens alike. In this regard, we've partnered and continue to partner with various private sector outfits involved in data production and analytics. Today, NBS is an integral part of various government committees and decision-making initiatives actively engaging in advocacy efforts to ensure that NBS data products are relevant in informing policy making where and when required. The critical role of using data to inform policy making bears out clearly in our recent economic experience. Today, one of the first places potential foreign investors visit is the NBS to get a sense of what data is saying. The sheer number of foreign investment firms that I've had to see since the beginning of the year is mind-boggling. They come in, and foreign investors don't come into an economy unless they understand that economy. And understanding that economy mandates them to understand the data and how the data is collected, produced, and what it's saying. It is only in Nigeria in the past that we design policies, and then we look for the data to back that policy after it has been designed. And if the data is not available, we just simply make it up. If the data is available and it contradicts what we want to do, then the data is wrong. Rather than the data driving the policy is designed, and then when people ask for the data, then we make it up. And that's just, it's the other way around. I remember when I started the office in 2011, there was a young man who came to my office. Well, I won't say he was unhappy, well, he was a little bit unhappy. And he said we were responsible for his business collapsing. I was a bit shocked. That's not what you want to hear the first week we take over office, and I was expecting some kind of lawsuit. He said a few years earlier, he tried to set up an internet cafe, and he came to the NBS, or was it the FOS, I'm not sure which one, to look for data on population. He wants to know the population, the number of people in each local government, what their potential salaries and expenditure is, whether they have computers. Because yes, you don't want to set up your business in an area where everybody has computers and access to the internet. You won't get any business. Open a business cafe there, but you get nobody to use your service. You rather put it in a place where very few computers and internet access exist, where people have the revenues to patronize his service. He didn't get that information, so he put it in one location in VI. It was out of business in 6 months. Because he didn't have the data to inform me. It's not surprising. Basic common sense and logic. Once you decide to take decisions without looking at it, and I believe very strongly that one of the reasons why we have not attained our potential as a country is because we designed very nice looking policies. If you read them in the document, they're extremely fantastic to read them, make sense, but they were not dictated by facts. They were not dictated by analysis of data. And as a result, they failed. A few years ago, I was speaking to one of the executive governors who, I think I've told this story several times, who said, SG, I will create 100,000 jobs in my first year in office. And I just responded, Your Excellency, who told you you need 100,000 jobs in your state? You can't just pick a number out of the air and say you want to create. How do you know you don't need 200,000 jobs? How do you know you don't need 20,000? And what kind of jobs? Are the unemployed in your state, are they accountants? Are they doctors? Are they data scientists? Do you want to create 100,000 aeronautic engineering jobs and find nobody can fill them, they don't have the skills? You can't just select nice round sounding numbers to take decisions. You have to go to your state, find out who the unemployed are. Are they male? Are they female? What is their qualification? What are their skills? How many people are going to enter the job market in a year or two? And then you design policies to take care of them. You don't start with a policy, call out a number, and then start finding a way to. It doesn't work that way. If you do it that way, we continue to go round and round in circles in what Einstein considered to be insanity. And I think that's what people in Nigeria have been insane for many, many years. We keep doing the same things over and over and over again, and we keep getting surprised when we are not getting anywhere, which is surprising. For our lives as citizens to improve, for our businesses to progress, and for our economy to be truly diversified and sustained in the long run, we have to cultivate stronger technological capabilities and deepen technical innovation. Oh, something else I wanted to add. One of the things I found when I started at NBS is that, see, you don't understand what data is or why it's important. The people that were in data units, in ministry department agencies, somewhere they send you as punishment. It's funny, but that's true. When you're out of favor with, I don't know who the minister or council or whoever is, or director, whoever is in charge, it sends you to the data unit because it's considered Siberia. It's actually punishable, and I found it very surprising. So when I go and when I try to do a study of the capacity of data production, you find people with degrees or expertise in Igbo language, or I'm not saying that's a bad degree to study, but not to be in a statistics department. The reasons why our health and to an extent our educational data is weak is because you might be a doctor. That doesn't make you a great data producer or interpreter. You might, even though you are working with medical data, it doesn't make you an expert in how to collect data. So when you go and man data production in health centers with doctors or then you get data that makes no sense, doesn't add up, and you cannot use for anything. You can't use to improve anything, and you stay exactly where you are. If you succeed, it's purely luck. But most people don't. It's an extremely important study. There's a direct relationship between countries of the world that take their data seriously and the level of development that they are in. And until you understand that fact, we might continue to remain the way we are. The rate, without a doubt, one of the most significant aspects of technological innovation in the last century has been the advent of computing. And one would not be exaggerating in saying that our planet runs on computers these days. Look at this room and try and count the number of things that run on computing. Check your pockets or your hands and see the number of things that depend on computing. When you go home or back to your offices, take a moment to admire the way computing has taken over our entire lives. We have almost taken all these things for granted. The rate of advancement in computing power, from the bits and bytes to big data analytics, particularly in recent decades, has made it possible to retrieve data from a variety of sources or formats, process them and present them in ways that are most helpful for decision making. This is where the field of data science comes in. And like I said at the beginning, according to the former Google executive director, the sexiest and most sought out job of the 20th century. That being said, as a discipline, there remains controversy among scholars and practitioners over what exactly constitutes data science. Some consider it an evolutionary step in interdisciplinary fields like business analysis that incorporates computer science, modeling, statistics, analytics, and mathematics. Others see it as a multidisciplinary blend of data inference, algorithm development, and technology in order to solve analytically complex problems. This is how you know how important and esoteric something is when there is big disagreement about what it actually is and means. Either way, it is clear that data science brings concepts, tools, and methods from various fields, particularly computer science and statistics, to process vast amounts of data into useful knowledge and information for decision making. Data in and of itself, like I mentioned earlier, is useless if it only exists in a form that is not readily meaningful or useful for decision making. We still need to be able to pull together the vast microdata being collected, generated, and produced across the economy into meaningful and actionable knowledge and information, which can then be used by policymakers for design implementation, monitoring and evaluation. For example, provide population-related services, predict likely emergence of national disasters or track epidemics. To businesses, by businesses to better determine consumer preference and future demand based on past demand trends, or to target their advertisements and products. By entrepreneurs to identify new business opportunities or future markets based on household consumption profiles. By students to make decisions about future growth in job opportunities in various sectors. The economic recovery and growth plan of the government, like many other plans we have had in our nation's history, talks about the need for economic diversification. Can data and data science help to make such diversification possible? Yes, it can, as I showed earlier, by applying the tools and methods of data science to various types of microdata. The outcome can be seen in better information, higher productivity, greater efficiency, increased output, and ultimately in higher welfare for society. Let us consider some sector-focused applications and how the tools and methods of data science can foster improved outcomes for the economy as a whole. The sectors to be considered can be identified based on their job creation potentials in the third quarter of 2016 for illustrative purposes. 4 sectors were selected from among those that recorded new job creation, while 4 sectors were selected from those that recorded job losses. So we identified 6 sectors as follows: human and health services, agriculture, trade, arts, entertainment, recreation, public administration, electricity, transport and storage, and financial intermediation. But in the interest of time, I'll only touch on agriculture. The rest of the examples are in my address. The usefulness of data in understanding soil types and which are best for growing wheat crop, or in predicting weather patterns and environmental events, is a prominent area of application of data science. But in our context, there are a wider variety of other application areas. For example, relying on data analytics for each stage of the value chain could help producers make informed production decisions even before the first seeds are planted. In a practical sense, this would require combining weather information with vast amount of data on seed and soil properties, transportation, logistics options, business conditions, and household purchasing power analysis. The availability and use of such data can enable the modern agriculture entrepreneur only if everybody contributes to the best of his or her ability and capacity. The task of government is to set a strategic vision for the nation and to design policies, plans, and programs to drive that vision. We must then respond to that vision and give that vision flesh and bones, and to advance ideas to translate the vision into reality. In many cases, however, in Nigeria, we find that it's actually the general public and the private sector that even sets that tone and dictates that direction. This is regrettably the case with dealing with big data and data analytics in Nigeria. And this is why I find these engagements we are having today very useful. As Nigeria's Statistician General, I believe Data Society in Nigeria is leading the way in this regard and should be commended for its efforts. Accordingly, I'm here not to speak to you, but also, I'm here not only to speak to you, but also to pick your brains and hopefully learn a few things from the vast amount of knowledge we will all gain from the many experienced speakers and interaction from the audience. As a nation, I think we face 2 overall choices. We can either drift passively into the future, or we can plan actively and deliberately by providing and using data and information that enables us to design policies, plans, and programs for development. As participants in this program, we are setting ourselves apart as building blocks upon which the emerging field of data science in Nigeria will be solidly established. It is my hope and genuine expectation that the resources, knowledge, and network of relationships that you have acquired and will acquire from this event will remain with you long after you have left this place. I also invite you to engage with our data products on the NBS website and to make it your playground. I urge you also to remember that the country is looking up to you to use your skills and knowledge to lift up the millions who would have loved to be here but have not been as fortunate as you are. I wish you a fruitful and successful session. Thank you all for listening.
Okay, to water down all the serious talks, we want to go into something a little lighter, you know. It's going to be a big data quiz and win session with Interswitch. So this is an opportunity for you to win something, take something home. It's going to serve as, okay, I was at the first big data summit in Lagos, and here's what I came home with. So participate, and I hope you win. Thank you. Oby?
We have been hearing from one of our mentors in the nation. So thank you so much for the wealth of knowledge you just exposed to us. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Interswitch, we need to take some little pecks home. It's good to win gifts. There's nobody who does not like a gift. No one. So let's pick our brains and see what fun it is to win some gift. Yeah, I'm actually going to tell you, this is going to excite us. Simple questions, tricky questions, but we'll need you to think. Hey Tim, are we ready? Data, a new oil. It's very important. Our convener, Dr. Bayo, he showed us some interesting charts on what we could actually do with data. You saw those Twitter charts. That means if we leverage very well on data, we can make some good money in this country. I'm sure that 80% of us here came here because of what we can get out of data we have in our offices, in our businesses. So let's go ahead and roll the tape, please. Yes, this is very easy, but I'm not allowed to answer the question, unfortunately. 3/7 of chicken plus 2/3 of cat plus half of goat equal what?
Chicago. Yeah, 3/7 of chicken. That's 7 alphabets, and 3/7 of it plus 2/3 of cats and 1/2 of.
Okay, I have a mic here for you to explain to us how you came about Chicago.
If it's an array, so we're definitely going to use 0 plus 0 plus 0 or 1 plus 1 plus 1 because 0 is the index.
Thank you very much. Please come forward, sir. On behalf of Interswitch, I say congratulations and thank you for being part of us. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for the time.
We have a lot of work to do in Nigeria from a veracity point, and I'll talk a bit about it as we go. And then value. At the end of the day, it has to have value. There's no point having data that doesn't have value to you. Or there are certain data that can even remove value. I will also talk a bit about that as we go. Next slide. So let me talk about KPMG, and I think Bayo has talked about this a bit. What is data? Structured data. Structured data are the kind of data that, and I think the CEO of that moment is focused on it. There are things like transaction records. Those are structured data, very easy. Unstructured data are the things that I was emphasizing on. You know, we call it big data, video, Snapchat. I have my daughter doing Snapchat every second. You know, sending tweets, sending WhatsApp messages. And unfortunately, the likes of Bio are missing out in information. And that's the truth. The telcos are missing out on that kind of information. They're not seeing all that information. They are seeing the velocity and the movement, but the details of the information, they are not seeing. So for me, that is data. What you do with data. When you say data is the new oil in Nigeria, I question. I'm sure you guys are waiting for me to say. Data is the new oil in Nigeria. Tomorrow, not today. And we will talk about it. Let me tell you why. Oil was in the earth many years before it was discovered, isn't it? In Nigeria, we have data, and the type of data we have, the form it is in, is not useful. So, I cannot say data is the new oil in Nigeria, but it's in the future. We're doing some work for government and even private organizations, where the data, the way we store data today is not useful. And that's why everywhere you go, and I can give you an example. I want to get a driving license, I fill a form. I go to the hospital, I fill a form. I want to get a passport, I fill a form. I want to get ID card, I fill a form. And the data is not anywhere. It's not pulled together. That's why banks are confused. Imagine banks saying, KYC is knowing me, knowing where I live, full stop. That's KYC. And they're happy. So, where's the data? I'm happy the CEO is saying we want to know what is happening. So it's important, from our perspective, can you go to the next slide? Next. And it's important that the people that are data scientists understand this. Because at the end of the day, the people that will make the most money are the people that can demystify the business need and bring solutions. Not the techies that would just churn out the data. Three basic things is the growth concern. Businesses are interested in growth. So for you to be able to add value, you need to understand the business. You need to understand the competitive landscape. You need to understand the strategy of that organization and where it's going. And to be able to address their growth concern. Because if your data doesn't address that, it's useless. The next one is cost concern. Most businesses want to do it faster, more things, and cheaper. All of us have a lot of work to do to ensure that the integrity and the quality of the data is important. Because you want to make good decisions. 43% say they have, which is better from a security risk perspective, that 43% can trust the data, but it's still not good enough. So clearly, building trust in the data is going to be very key as we go forward. Because if I rely on the data and it fails me, we will have taken one step forward and 5 steps backwards. So it's important that we get the quality of data to be able to move forward. Next slide. And some of the things that you need to do to build trust in data is the quality of the data. I remember Bayo said this morning that we can predict the moods of the populace. But I also challenge the fact that the number of people that you are addressing, is it a reflection of the populace? How many people are carrying smartphones? If you saw the statistics I had, only 26 million people. Nigeria, we have 180 million. So the quality of our data, we have to work on. And we are still not there. For me, as a business, to thrive on. Let me tell you one of the things I'm beginning to see from executives, just speaking to executives. They tell me clearly, because of the capital and risks in my business, I cannot rely on intuition. Gone are the days of relying on intuition. You have to bring data, and data that has quality for me to make those decisions. I'm looking for the data. I'm not finding the data. So it's important that the quality of the data is important because they're going to make decisions. And some of those decisions are going to put capital at risk. So for me, I can't overemphasize building trust in data for us to move forward. If not, we'll take one step forward and 5 steps backwards. So in doing that, it has to have quality, it has to have integrity, meaning it is accurate enough for me to make a decision on. It has to be effective. It has to be relevant for my decision making. And then finally, it has to be resilient, scalable, to be able to take data as we move forward. So, and I think this is for us another area we're looking at, to be able to build the trust. If not, you build all these systems, they will not rely on it. And if they don't rely on it, it will not add value to them. Next slide. What are the key takeaways? Next slide. For me, the first takeaway is that machines, robots, AI, all those things are not going to take jobs away from us. They're going to take those jobs that are uninteresting. Because when I was speaking to the risk managers in the bank, I told them that you have to unlearn and relearn.
What have we learned so far from all that has been said, with all the grammars, with all the simple English, with all the entertainment and everything? What have we learned so far? And what are we going to do with what we have learned? Because that is the most important part of this. It's not about coming to listen, it's about using and practicing what you have learned to make lives better for businesses, for policy decision makers, for citizens, and even for your business as well, right?
My name is Wale. I'm a lecturer. For me, I've learned a lot in this summit. First of all, I learned that as a data scientist, I'm very important to the development of this country. And as a statistician, we have a role to play in building this economy. And I've also learned that I have to be good at what I do.
I've learned a lot to take to where I came from. And fortunately, we do have something we call an in-house training in my organization. So I think I'm going to take this there. And hopefully I will get some slides from the organizers. Thank you.
Panel discussion, and the topic will be on how to build the Nigeria Big Data for Economic Development Roadmap. And to moderate that, we have Yomi Akinyemi, Senior Manager, Data and Analytics, KPMG, Nigeria. Let's put our hands together for him as he comes to moderate that. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So welcome to the first panel discussion for today. We'll actually be talking around, we'll be putting together our thoughts on how we can actually put together a roadmap to help transform how we use big data, and more importantly, how we can leapfrog our economic development. My name is Yomi Akinyemi, and I'm with KPMG, and I'm privileged to I'll be sharing this panel with a number of very distinguished experts, those that data analytics and the intelligence that comes with it is very core to what they do. So I'll be inviting a number of distinguished professionals who will be joining me on this panel. First and foremost, I will be bringing back the partner from KPMG. Is the head of risk consulting, innovation and data analytics. So please help me welcome Olumide Olayinka as I welcome him back to the stage. We also have a representative from IBM. He's representing the country manager. I have Chidiebele Ifediora. Please join me on the stage. I also have from Microsoft, I have the Director Enterprise Commercial Segment. I have Mr. Wale Olokodana. Please join me on the stage. Then from Interswitch, I have the CIO Interswitch, Babafemi Ogungbamila. Please join me on the stage, sir. I also have the CEO of Cymantiks. Cymantiks is actually involved in semantic web, AI and analytics, and they also provide software development services. Mr. Emeka Okoye, please join me. I also have the CEO of L5 Lab, Mr. Chika, Nwobi. Please join me. I'm actually also expecting the CEO of Leadership by Data. I don't know if he's in yet. Okay, it's not. So we'll just go straight into the panel discussions. And the way this is going to run is I'm going to do a first round of questions thrown at the panelists. And once we've done the first round, then I will open it up for the audience to actually provide their perspectives as well. What we are trying to do here is to join our thoughts together. We want to articulate our views of what big data has and the implications and what the critical pillars should be as we seek to leapfrog economic development of our country. And what is important for China as they put together a strategy and they are working towards this is that they have innovation platforms to build on this. They develop the technology requirements that are required to support this. And more importantly, they develop the people capabilities to be able to deliver on this. That is what we see from the advanced economies. But it is also imperative that we are also seeing that the emerging markets are also making significant inroads in the use of data and analytics and the technologies that support it. We've seen in Kenya, they are actually using mobile data to pinpoint hotspots for disease transmission. So this effectively helps the government to focus its very scarce resources so that they can get the biggest impact. We also seen in Morocco where they are using it in the educational system. They are using they have a platform that is called Check My School, and what this does is that it allows parents, students, and even administrators to be able to track funding that goes to schools, and hold the schools accountable to the funding that comes to them. So it increases a new layer of transparency in the educational sector.
I was reading a journal some time ago by Professor Oby Ezekwesili, and he was giving his opinion, which I concur, which is in concordance to what Mr. Olumide just said, that most underdeveloped countries in Nigeria are not mature yet for big data. And the reason is we do not have data. When we say we do not have data, it means that a substantial amount of data that we have within our ecosystem is not material enough to provide that kind of big data insights. And also, the professor also argued in his journal paper that the underlying infrastructures that would have been in place that will enable a big data ecosystem to swing is not in underdeveloped countries. US, McKinsey forecast, other developed countries in the UK started years before now. They've gone through data analytics maturity model. I have had an opportunity to talk to bankers who had approached me for analysis, credit scoring specifically, and I told them, you don't have data. This whole buzz of big data science, more data. One thing which is sacrosanct is machine learning. If the data is rubbish, the machine learning is going to learn rubbish data and going to predict rubbish, and that's what it is. I still concur to the fact that we do not have that data. We do not have enough data. We don't have the existing infrastructure. Yes, we are so encapsulated for the euphoria to be with other US developed countries. But the reality is, we have not gotten there yet. What we should be looking at to develop a data-driven culture within organizations, from the point of security to the customer service personnel to the sales person, everybody should have a culture of data orientation. That's where you can actually have a predictive model of accuracy of 100%. Because when we are data science, we want to predict the future, and we cannot afford to predict what is not correct. The future is in the lives of data scientists, because as a data scientist, we don't predict the future of business, and we need to be accurate in our prediction. We are talking about Google self-driving cars today. We cannot afford to bring Google self-driving cars to Nigeria. I told them it will fail. Google self-driving cars are not even successfully gone through tests in US. The next year now, we will be talking about Google self-driving cars in Nigeria. Look at the infrastructure. We're talking about artificial intelligence. It's not just about the buzzword. It's not about sexy big data, artificial intelligence, deep learning, no, it's about understanding the nitty-gritty, the mathematics that is there behind the concept, the machine learning. Some programmers cannot define my interface theory. They cannot explain neural network. They call people on the internet. And they program play. They do not understand parameter tuning. And that's just my argument. We need to sensitize the ecosystem to go back to the roots, train our schools, including myself, train everybody what to do in analytics. And that is just about technology and the buzzword. Thank you very much.
We don't need to be talking theory because I'm a practitioner working with clients. Take a bank. And I used to bank because I've worked a lot with banks. If I ask a bank today, and I'm talking risk analytics, do you know your recovery rate? Because they take a lot of, they give assets, loans, and they collect collateral. What's the recovery rate of any collateral? Any. I stand today that no bank, and I'm speaking No bank, maybe the foreign banks, no indigenous bank can give you the answer. It's impossible. Not to talk of the types of collateral. So there's collateral, what's the recovery rate on a collateral in Abuja versus Lagos? I'm even talking real estate, just a real estate of any kind. No data. They don't even have the last 1, 2 or 3 years data. So when we're talking Basel, talking Solvency II, you will require data. So when I say there's no data, I mean it. There's no data. And so I will quickly understand. So we are telling clients are now collecting data. And you know, before you can get to the confidence level, or even 95%, Basel says you should collect at least 5 to 7 years data. So it is, that's why I said we still have a lot of work to do. Not to talk of big data. We don't even know which big data to collect. So we have the work to do to be able to make sure that we create the awareness. And that's why I also say that that data discussion needs to get to the boardroom. So that people can understand that we do not even understand our business the way we should. When we say business intelligence, when we say customer intelligence, when we say market intelligence, it means a lot for any executive today to reply to. So I just wanted to give that example that we do not, yes, I've heard that there's data. Yes, I'm not saying there's no data. But I also need to have data that is valuable to my business. For my growth, for my cost, for my risk. And yes, we have data, but we are still struggling. I can still say today that without, and I mean, from what I know, and I can give you many more examples, we still have falsity of data. What we are struggling with, and I'm making money out of it, we are cleaning data, basic data for clients. And a lot of clients are still struggling to even have the quality of data, because we should also be careful as data scientists and all that, so we are not putting together data that is not representative and giving us quality business institutions. Let me give another example.
I'm working on big organizations that you may even look and say, oh, this organization is, and what they are coming to us to say is that before we even start all these data analytics, we need to clean the data. You know, it's shocking that clients or clients of mine and big clients that you look out there and you see that, oh, they don't even have, one, they need the data to be cleaned. People like, a number of organizations are still trying to even reconcile some of the data they have. Some of them don't even have data. And I'm saying this clearly, some people don't even have basic data of their clients. And I'm not going to tell you, some banks do not have, and I repeat, do not have data about their clients. People big here, they do not know where the customer lives today. Some banks have photographs of goods and dogs in their data. And I'm not joking. I saw one, he had a chair. We saw that in the telecoms, don't laugh. All this happened in the telecoms. In the telecoms, we saw chairs, we saw all those things. It is also in the bank. But it's more painful in the bank because we know how sensitive those information, banking should be. So we have a lot of work to do. And the important thing is that we can leapfrog. The good news is that we can leapfrog all these issues. And I think the responsibility is on all of us to create that awareness. Some of these discussions or comments are not being made even at the boardroom. I remember when I presented to a board and I was telling them that I can tell you that you do not have information about your customer. Your KYC, let any bank come and say KYC is intact. No bank. I've not seen it. There are better ones than the others. So, and some of these things are so basic. So when you say you want to tap big data, people with small data, we are still struggling.